to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. I'm your host Brooke Mitchell, and today's webinar is video premiere and Q&A. Discover Madagascar, Africa's island apart, with expedition leader Rija Ratotonirinia. I think I got it. And video editor Andrew Christofil. Just a quick note, everybody, the filmmaker Justin Sullivan was supposed to be here, but he is currently in the DRC filming his next conservation story. So he tried to connect, and we are more than happy he's out in the world doing what he needs to. But Rija and Andrew, thank you both so much for being here.
Okay, you're welcome. Hello, everybody. Excited to be here and ready for the next hour of our webinar.
Hey everyone, yeah, thanks. Glad to be back. This will be my second webinar here, and I'm happy to answer any burning questions you have about the video making process.
There we go. Thank
People
you.
think of Africa, the land of big animal. But when you are in Madagascar, forget all of those things. Madagascar is a land of small creatures. From the Indri to Sifaka, the brown lemur, the bamboo lemurs, and all those small creatures active at night. This weird-looking insect like giraffe-necked weevil, and so many different things. The reason people come here is because we have such a high level of endemic species. Nowhere else on Earth you can see it. And what I like the most is showing the people the uniqueness of the biodiversity. Those are the great moments for me, like watching the lemurs with a baby, going a little bit away from man and then exploring the surrounding area and back to man. Guests go crazy. Or being able to watch some of the chameleon. You struggle to find it because they stay still, they pick up the color of the leaves, and then you show the guest, look at this chameleon, and the guests say like, where? This. That's a great moment also. But just walking in the forest is my favorite part. Walking in the forest is really giving me a time of a release. My dad used to be a guide. The rainforest is like coming back to in my child time, wandering around in the forest with my dad. In the forest, I feel peaceful, I feel free. Empty. Having an empty mind walking in the forest and forget all the problem of life. The main threat for the animal, for the biodiversity in Madagascar is the habitat loss. 90% of our forest has gone due to a slash and burn. The slash and burn agriculture is still one of our traditional way of growing rice. I wish that we could bring back all of the things like it used to be. But now we have hope. The best way for Madagascar, we can base part of our economy in tourism, because everything we have is a unique. Our guests, they come to Madagascar because we have such a high level of endemism. Biodiversity is so amazing here. We have in Madagascar so many variety of landscape as well. In all the place where you go, there is still a big block of forest. That area is protected and the government open for tourists. The local people, they are conscious of because of this forest, we make money, so let's preserve this area. To be a guide is actually a privilege. As being a guide, you also act as an ambassador of the country. It means something big for me being wild. Seeing the green world is something very important. Like me being in the forest is kind of like building up the energy, building up the love. I say it all the time, my office is the forest. I think I'm already living my dream.
How beautiful. I got goosebumps at the end of that. I don't know if anybody else did, but I definitely did. Oh, fantastic. All right, Rija, so let's start to get to know you. And if you want to go ahead and unmute your mic there, I'll just let you do that really fast. Perfect, there you
Yeah.
go. So let's learn a little bit more about you. Could you tell us about your background and why did you decide to become a guide?
Actually, I'm so lucky to be a part of a family, a big family that been involved in nature. Yeah, my dad is actually one of the first guide in Madagascar back in the 70s, and I learned a lot from my dad when I grew up in the childhood time. As all the children, I went to school, but from time to time, dad is always a sort of whisper saying to me like, "Why don't you become like me one day? Why don't you follow my footprint?" And I did not really pay attention to what he was saying at that day. But time is passing through, and after I finished my studies, I decided to follow his footprint and footsteps. And yeah, there was a time also during my teenager time, he took me on his trip a lot during the holiday, and I get familiar to our national park, our animal as well, and that's all a part of the reason I became a guide, and I did this job since 2001, and also my grandfather from my mom used to live in the national park of Andasi Bay. It's a part of the itinerary of natural habitat when they are here in Madagascar. And we did live exactly right inside of that national park because my grandfather was the manager of the fish and forestry department. So I spent you know, lots of my holiday over my childhood time to hear the Henry call in the morning, to know lots of bird, the reptiles, the frogs, and later on, that was a sort of bridge for me to go into the tourism sector. And I became guide since 2001, and up to now, I'm still here. Yeah.
Wow, what an amazing story. So from the beginning, you were
Yeah.
in nature, learning nature and everything that Madagascar has to offer. And Madagascar is definitely known for its uniqueness. As you were talking in that video, it's endemism and all these endemic species. And me being a conservation biologist, it's like top of the list of areas I need to see. So, could you actually explain a little bit further why does Madagascar have so much unique wildlife? And also, what are a few of your favorites?
I think one of the main reason Madagascar has this such amazing biodiversity, uniqueness, high level of endemism is because of its position, because we reached our position somewhere between 90 to 80 million years ago. We broke up from mainland Africa, still attached to India. India left us alone on our current position now, like 80 million years ago. So all the animal we have has long time, millions of years to evolve on our island, to radiate divergent evolution, convergent evolution, adaptive radiation, all of those things, and then made that, you know, high level of endemism. That, and also the fact of having a lot of, different habitats, ecosystem, microclimates, that's added to to that situation of like we are one of hot biodiversity spot in the world, and for biologists Madagascar is pretty much like a paradise for botanists, uh, herpetologists, lepidopterian, and all. Yeah. And then I have some, in Madagascar, 90% of the animal we have here, they are native to Madagascar. So if you ask me, do you have any favorite one? It's pretty hard to answer that because all of them sound like the guests when they are here. Some of them even say like, this is the land of diversity because, you walk within 20 minutes, you'd be able to see a big variety from mammals to insects, reptiles, and geckos, and all sorts. So it's hard, but one of my favorite is a bird because beside being an expedition leader, I am also a birder guide. I've been birding, became a birding guide since 2005, and there is one species called long-tailed ground rollers that's located in the spiny forest of the southwestern part of the country. And I even named my daughter, yeah, to that bird, the long-tailed ground roller.
Wow, what's her name?
Her name is Hurantu. Hurantu.
Wow, that's such a beautiful, it's such a great story too, to love a bird so much that your daughter had earned that name. That's so cool. That's awesome. And on that note, since there is such high levels of endemism there, that comes with a lot of conservation threat because they're not found anywhere else in the world. So it was briefly mentioned in that beautiful film, but could you talk about that a little further? What are some of the top conservation issues that the island is facing, and how are they being addressed?
I mean, in Madagascar, the biggest issue of conservation here is the habitat loss. Yeah, because the country as an island, we were completely covered by forest back in the days, but just several years after the arrival of the people on the island, deforestation has really sort of, you know, destroy most of the forest on the both side, the west and the east. And so far, we have about 90% of our forest gone, only 10% left. But the government has been doing a lot of good stuff, since the 90s because tourism picked up, took off around the 80s, 90s in the country. So they are conscious about the impact of the income brought by tourism. So the conservation is it's sort of a key. Yeah, it's among the policy of the government, and even one of our president back in the 90s signed up a treaty of Durban in order to increase the surface area of the protected air park places in the country, forest habitats, ecosystem. And just telling you, in the 90s, 80s, we had an ID, 2 national parks, and now we are up to 23 national parks now in Madagascar. Yeah. So which is, we look at it like there is a good future for conservation in the country.
And just out of curiosity, how many of those national parks do we go to on our itineraries?
On our itinerary, we go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That covers a lot of
Because
ground.
yeah, yeah, those are the most accessible. In Madagascar, road is naturally yeah. Don't think of the road in the U.S. when you are here. The road is pretty bad in certain way, in certain parts. So yeah, where the road is good, where there are parks, and all the parks that listed on our itinerary, those are the best park. I would say the most popular park, and the park that has a good diversity of uh, of animal biodiversity as well. Yeah.
Oh, how cool. Yes, it's such a high on the list just talking to you right now. Wishes I was on a bush flight somewhere on a trail with you, like having this conversation in one of these beautiful national parks. And the last time you and I chatted, I loved to hear you discuss just the beautiful culture and the people there of Madagascar. And we don't really have that many opportunities to talk about this, but I would love to learn more, and I'm sure everybody listening too. Could you tell us more about the people and the culture of Madagascar and what it's like to be there?
Yeah, that is also another important thing. We're talking about the animal, the endemism, but don't forget that in Madagascar, Madagascar is the island. Malagas is the name of the people who live on the island, and Malagasy people we are as endemic as our wildlife as well. We are unique, and just telling you this little story. People come to Madagascar. We are off the eastern coast of Africa. We are facing Mozambique, and people come to Madagascar. They sometimes have like an African image in their mind, but when they are here, they are completely astonished,
Hmm.
amazed, because when they get up in the morning after their night flight, we take them on a tour, city tour. They are asking to the guide, to us, like, where I am. I'm in Asia or where? I'm not in Africa. Because the origin, our ancestor came from Asia.
Hmm.
In terms of people, we are more close to the Asian people than the African people. So we are in Africa, but one of the things that telling to you that Madagascar ancestor is from Asia, we eat rice 3 times a day, pretty much like the Asian people. We grow rice all year round. And then our custom and culture, because we are 30 million people live on the island now, and divided into 18 ethnic groups. We all speak one language called Malagasy, which is related to some language in Asia. The root is Asian language rather than African language. And then every single ethnic group, they have their own specific custom. So all around the tour, we talk about the culture, the custom, the mindset, the everyday activity of the people around. But there are some specific one that I would love to tell you, like one of the most famous. I always tell to the guest on the itinerary when we get to Ishalu, one of the spot national park down on the southwest, among the Bara. Bara is the name of the tribe there, and the Bara main activity is cattle breeding. Their life is around cattle. We call the cattle a zebu. So their wealth is measured by the number of the zebu they have. And then in this special place, nowadays, it has always been their culture, like for the small boy around 17, 18, 20 years old, when they want to impress a girl from the next village, they have to steal the cow from wherever they do it and bring to the village and give it to the parents of the girl as bride as like offering as like a gift.
And he said
Yeah.
they had to steal it. They
They
stole
have to
the
steal it.
zebu.
They have to steal it. They have to steal it just
Wow.
to prove that they are strong and to prove that they are able to handle the girl. Yeah, her
To
partner.
prove they could handle the girl.
I mean, like a hand, like a, you know, what I mean, like to to live with her, to support her, to be her
Yes.
partner. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a great story. Yes, and I've seen some different documentaries about different areas or different cultures around Madagascar, and it is such a fascinating just island. And also, I think that sometimes we forget, even though it's an island, it's so big. Like as we were talking
Yeah.
before we logged on, you were comparing it in some ways to the United States, but the diversity of ecosystems and everything, having dry areas and wet areas, and you have the ocean and you have mountains, like all these kinds of things. So it's such a fantastic area. And I would like to go back to your guiding experience for a little bit here. And
Mhm.
you've had, I mean, from 2001, you've been guiding for so long. Is there a particular moment or encounter that really reinforced your passion for sharing your country with others?
I think one of my, I would say, special place, Ishalu. Ishalu is a place located in the southwest. We go to Ishalu, and when I was kids, yeah, my dad was a guide, and one day dad brought home big poster of Ishalu and put it on the wall. And then as soon as I see it hanging there, I say to myself, like, I need to see that place one day. And it happened 2001, and I tell that to the guests every time I go to that place. In Madagascar, we're thinking of biodiversity, but Isal is a sandstone. Isal is pretty much like the Grand Canyon of the US, the Bryce Canyon. Yeah. So having that like different aspect in among the rainforest and the dry forest is sort of something like you don't expect, but it's there, and then it makes the story even more like wow. Yeah, yeah. But a lot of good experience. So I love nature. I grew up among the nature, so this is one of my key subject that I always share to the guests: the chameleons, the leaf-tailed gecko. Yeah, I mentioned at the beginning of the film that when you come to Madagascar, forget about Africa. Madagascar is a land of small creatures, so you have to, give that image of small creatures to the guest right at the presentation. Like when you get there, we're going to try to spot for you like the smallest chameleon on earth, like 20 millimeters. When you are there, we're trying to show you the giraffe-necked weevil. Yeah, when you try, yeah, all sort of those small critters. And when you walk in the forest, like you have to be so concentrate on, trying to search for those small critters. Yeah,
Yeah, and talk about cool creatures. Like, even
yeah,
though they're small, I mean, chameleons, we were just talking about chameleons, like some of the coolest reptiles I think that's ever evolved. They're just so fun
yeah.
and so unique. But also, speaking of that too, what is your hope for the future of ecotourism in Madagascar? And how do you see it evolving over time? Or if you want a timescale over like the next decade, what do you see for the future?
Yeah, for the future, I think I have a big hope for the future of the ecotourism in the country because the Madagascar is actually in reality it's a poor country, and I've noticed since my experience, my career, 2001 I started that tourism is helping a lot. So our ideology is like conservation through exploration.
Hmm.
So that conservation, if you put it in a parallel with exploration, I mean tourism. Tourists come to Madagascar to bring their money. People are most of the place where you go, people they believe in it, and they are so jealous about their biodiversities in their area. They protect it like strongly, and yeah, doing whatever they can do, in order to preserve their biodiversity. And this is actually like a way for me to 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 develop the conservation in Madagascar.
That's so cool to hear when the local communities will fiercely protect
Mhm.
their land. That's exactly what you want. That's like the whole point of conservation tourism is that right there. Like so beautifully said.
Yeah,
And then just to make a
and
little bit. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. And one thing that a new policy of conservation in Madagascar also is the government, WWF, our partner, has contributed a lot because they were here since the 50s. They have been present on the island for the last 50 years, and they sort of transmit their skill, their knowledge to the government for the preservation. They were establishing all the park that we are going now. And now there is a program of sort of giving it to the local people because we have a lot of this community run reserve. On our itinerary, we visit at least 3 community run reserve because if the community don't really feel that they benefit from the preservation, they don't care. But if they feel it's a win-win business, if they feel it, they work hard, they send their kids to school, and those new generation, those are the key. Those are the one that look after because they have already the skill of management of the park. Like, yeah, this is the new policy, like giving it, handling it slowly to the local community. Yeah?
That's beautiful. Yeah, and my field, like in what I do, that's like music to my ears. So that's so cool from it being top down and being it, true community-based conservation, if you want to put a
Mhm.
key term on it, for those of us in the sciences. But that is, oh, that's so cool. And to just make a little bit of a switch here, so we started all of this by watching the film. That's the main reason why we are here together, that beautiful film about you and your country. So I have to ask, I know Justin isn't here, so we're just going to pretend that he is. But what was it like to have Justin there with you and like a film crew with you filming as you're going about your day or your trip and what you do? What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, that was a really beautiful experience, and that won't happen in my lifetime. So I go back 2023 when Nick Grossman contacted me, emailed me like, yeah, Rija, we would like you to be a part of our next movie about Madagascar. We've chosen you, and we're going to set a program and send in Justin from South Africa to do it with you. And that was August 2023. And Justin uh, in touch with me October 2023, our first contact with Justin. And then yeah, we WhatsApp together and they made a plan and then asked a lot of questions to me. And he came over and then I met him. He came 2 days early before the trip started. So to get to get the contact with me actually, and then he came to my home and then he met my family and we had lunch together and he told me like all the program and all the things that he needs me to realize to do and then like we did it and it was like a river flowing smoothly and yeah it's like automatic yes that yeah.
That- Yeah, no, that's awesome. Because I know when we were all sat down before this, when Justin was still going to be able to join us, he said that honestly, his favorite part of the whole thing was this few days with you and your family before even going out into the field. That's how much he loved being there and experiencing the Malagasy culture with you. And so, um, yeah, it would have been awesome to hear his firsthand experience of that. But I thought that that really moved me when he's like, "No, my favorite part was being with you and your family." Like
Yeah.
how beautiful is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But awesome. So thank you, Rija. I will come back to you in a little bit, but I want to turn it more to the nuts and bolts of this beautiful film, Andrew. So let's learn about your story here a little bit. So like what is your background and how did you get into film editing? Of all things you could have done with film, you were the mastermind of putting it all together. So why did you decide to choose this field?
Yeah, well, that's the first time I think I've been considered the nuts and bolts of anything, so thank you. Um, yeah, I got really into movies and TV and nature documentaries when I was a kid. Just kind of glued to the TV quite a bit. But I also grew up doing Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, so I had my time out in nature as well. And yeah, it just kind of became my passion. I didn't think I could quite make a career out of it. I was a little doubtful of that, but made a shift halfway through my college experience towards the communication arts, radio, TV, film, and just glad I wound up in an industry that I enjoy the work that I do and get to be creative.
Hmm. Isn't that what we all want? You know, that's what we all want, just to be doing something that like fills our soul with good things, even through the bad times. It's like, yes, I'm doing something awesome. So let's go back
Totally.
to the moment when Justin delivered all of this raw footage to you. I can only imagine what this process is like. How do you go through what he captured and then start to put together the story that we just saw?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I take it, one step at a time, and usually the first thing is to just listen to Rija's story and listen to his interview sequence. And I kind of I mark down areas where Rija says something really profound or interesting, or he's passionate about talking about something, and that kind of forms the backbone to what I think that the video should be about. And then I also go through all of the incredible wildlife footage, the incredible footage of Nat Hab guests just, feet away from a lemur or pointing up at a chameleon that they spot. I try to find spots in what we call the B-roll that would fit really well with the things Rija is explaining in that backbone that I was talking about earlier.
Mm. But I'm sure, since that film was like what, it's like a 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes, and obviously Justin was there way longer than that. So, were there any scenes that you had to leave out that you really wish you could have included?
Oh yeah, I mean, Rija noted that, and you noted, Brooke, that Justin was spending time with Rija in the city and with his family for the first couple days, and there was a lot of shots of Rija with his family walking through town, and really the only part that we used from that is the part of the video where Rija says, "But we still have hope," and you see him in his home and he's got his birding book open, right? So there's a whole like couple days of footage that didn't really find a spot in this current story, which, it's always tough to make those decisions, but overall, we're still really happy with how the video uh, turned out.
Yeah, just the emotional connection that you were able to develop in a 5.5. It doesn't feel like that, you know? It does not feel like it's 5.5 minutes long. Like just rewatching it again, I was like, how did you pack that much emotion and storytelling in that amount of time? It's incredible. And I think one of the things that really helps connect us is the musical selections, like how you were able to put to different fun clips with other types of like emotional clips. So, what is your process for that? How do you go through like a music catalog and select the perfect song for whatever it is that the scene you're putting together?
Yeah, now that is a really good question. And I guess the way I like to think about it is I will write down maybe like the mood that we're going for in certain areas. So the very intro, Risha's talking about, a very traditional Africa experience in contrast with Madagascar wildlife experience. So think very classical African drums. Um, but then go into a section where we're talking about the wildlife of Madagascar, and I almost viewed it as like, these lemurs are the highlight, and they're so playful and they're fun to watch, and all of the other wildlife can be quirky and zany. So I was kind of looking for something uh, upbeat, still kind of has like a little African twist, so very much incorporated drums, but something that was very upbeat and exciting. And then we transitioned to Rija walking through the forest, and that needed to be something very serene and he's just in his peaceful area, so it needed to be a peaceful music track. So I put down kind of like some keywords of the mood that I'm looking for, and then it's a matter of going into a music library of thousands and thousands of music tracks and trying to use their search features the best as you can. But a lot of the times it's listening to 100 songs until, oh my gosh, I found the perfect one. This is exactly what I'm looking for. It's a long process, but it really helps just convey emotion throughout the video.
Oh yeah, I could not agree more. And as somebody I've recently gotten into scoring for some of the things that I produce, and wow. It might be, I think it's tougher than writing the story or recording the story or going into field is picking songs. Like,
It
uh,
can make or break a section of the video. Sometimes you put the music in, you think it's going to work, and you watch it back, and it's just like, yeah, this isn't it. This isn't it. We got to go back. We got to look. We got to keep digging.
yeah. And do you recall, just out of curiosity, around how long did it take you from the time you received the raw footage to the film being released? How long of a time window was that? And how many hours do you think this took you to do?
Ooh, okay. I was not prepared for that question, but
I
let's
just came
see.
up with it.
Yeah, we got the footage, and then one of the first things we did is create a video to go on the website and the trip page. So uh, we were able to quickly kind of pick some of the really best moments that Justin got from there and cut together a short video to make the trip look awesome as it obviously is, because you watch this video and almost all the footage is things that Justin was able to get on an AntHab trip. So it's not that difficult to find some incredible shots. But yeah, I'd have to go back to see how long it took. I mean, just going through all the footage and doing selects on that can take a week. Cutting together a rough cut can take anywhere from a week to 2 weeks. And then polishing it up and going through rounds of feedback can also take another 2 to 3 weeks. So yeah, it's a multi week and sometimes a multi-month long process to put together something like this. Yeah, it's it makes it in every certain version of the video makes it even better and even better as you move along. So all these tweaks and changes, yeah, they take a lot of time, but hopefully the end video is, exactly what we wanted it to be. And I think this one is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I would agree. Of all not oh, go ahead, Risha. You put up your hand.
I, I have a question for Andrew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the music and the sound. I wonder sometimes, like, I've watched the movie, the film, many times, and I wonder, like, I did not, you could not find a Malagasy music to put on the background where it's your choice to 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 make those sort of music and sound on the background.
Rija, you have asked a wonderful question because at the time of putting this together, I mean, I was kind of limited to the sound library that I was working with, and I did search for Malagasy style music, and I have for other projects as well, where I want to find like local music that really relates with the local culture. And I think we probably could have reached out to you and found something. Maybe you have connections. Do you know musicians? Because it is very hard to find. Um, it is very hard to find files or something that like is already out there and you can purchase a license for. Uh,
Mm.
but you raise a really good point, and I think we should do that more in our films moving forward. Is experiment and try looking in different areas for music where you can get local music right down to the very specific area or region. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah, that is a really good point when it comes to all of these different oh, there's so many rules, especially when it comes to music. It's pretty incredible,
We
actually, the number of rules that come with music
yeah,
selection. So there's a lot of hurdles to jump through, but that is a really good point. Yeah, maybe in the future films could definitely
Sure.
work with that. But yeah. So I have everybody. I only have one more question for Andrew and Rija. So if you have any questions yourself, please get to typing in your questions box because we will have time for a Q&A with Rija and Andrew at the end.
Mm.
So feel free to start dumping those in because it's almost your turn. But all right, for both of you, and Rija, I will start with you. What is your favorite memory from this experience?
Um, I think all for me are good memories. I can say one of the particular memory that touched me is when we were in Ishalo. This is like a little funny story between us. Justin, when we were in Ishalo in the sandstone, formation places area, Justin talked to me. I want to do interview to you, Rija. Yeah. And since we are in this dry area, let us find a green spot, like a little bit of green trees, forest, whatever. And then in the shallow, even though it looks really dry, there are lots of water. And every time you see water, there are like a grove of forest there. So we found it, the spot, and then we brought all the gears. And then we penetrate in the little wood area. And then we found this log. I sat there, and then he settled everything. And we started the interview. And then few seconds after, hundred and thousand of mosquitoes came to.
Oh
You know, we were planning to do a good sequence of 10 or 15 minutes, but within 5 minutes, like you said, let's go. Like there is no point of us to stay here. That is one of, and also the time sharing with the guest as well. That it's been a good memories. The experience of that film is also reminded all good memory for me. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, that's what we want, right? That it was a wonderful experience for you too. So,
Yeah.
and then Andrew, I would like to ask you the same question. What was your favorite memory or part about this project for you?
Yeah, overall, I think this was one of our more creative films to put together, and I made a big push for that because Madagascar is such a unique location with totally unique wildlife, as Rija was pointing out, and I wanted the video to feel that way as well, to feel like it stands apart from our other videos in terms of editing style, in terms of the content itself. But one very specific point that made me really happy in the editing process was I was trying to figure out how I could nail like the beginning of the video, the hook, and introduce Madagascar correctly. And I had it together, and something just wasn't feeling right. I went back through Rija's interviews and listened to him speak some more, and he talked about one of his favorite things to encounter when he's out exploring in the forest is to hear the call of the injury. And I thought that's what this is missing. We need to hear that, and I have a sound library that we use, and we had this beautiful injury call from the distance, and it's such a beautiful, but the word I use is haunting noise it makes, and just adding that to the very tail end of the intro, it really made that fall into place. And thank you, Rija, for I wouldn't have known about that unless I went back in Rija's interview and got that piece of info that only someone who's well versed in Madagascar wildlife could tell me.
Oh, how awesome. Well, this was so much fun, Rija and Andrew. So everybody, let's open it up for Q&A right now. So again, there's that little questions box in your GoToWebinar control panel. Go ahead and put those in there for the next like 8 or 9 minutes. We'll see how many questions we can get through, and then yeah, we will go from there. But let's see here. Let's see what we have so far. So for this first one is for you, Rija. Does
Yeah.
Madagascar have many snakes?
Yes, we do have several species of snake. Yeah, but yeah, we're a lucky country because our snake is not as dangerous as a snake like thinking of Australia or Africa, because none of those venomous snake uh, family like the cobra is absent from Madagascar. The viper is absent. The rattlesnake is absent. So most of our snake actually is it's a, their ancestor is boa constrictor. So they evolved from that one family. one group, and then they irradiate it and makes our snake pretty much like docile, friendly. I always say we have a friendly snake in Madagascar. Don't worry. Yeah. But we have several types. We have several types. We have several types. So the largest snake we have in the country belong to the boa family. It is a ground dwelling boa. We have a tree boa as well. So we have, let's say we have several types. Yeah.
Okay, cool, great. And then this next one is more about Nat Hab's trips. Could you talk a little bit of the difference between like a regular nature journey trip and the photo trip? Are there any differences between those two?
Yeah, there is a big difference between the two. The regular trip is actually based on, of course, they are both based on wildlife, but the photo trip is more wildlife and photography. So you spend more time, yeah, with the subject. Yeah, and since this year we are doing an extension to a part that the regular trip don't go. And of course, the expedition leader, expert on photography, assisted, our guest, and they give you all kind of tricks, tips, information about the low light, the the distance between the subject and you, and how the environment is there in the spot. So yeah, there is a difference. There is a big difference. Yeah.
Great, yeah. Hopefully that answered that person's questions. Andrew, these next two ones are for you. And this makes sense because knowing about a lot of the freelancing world out there, but do you exclusively work for NetHab or do you also freelance?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have freelanced, not so much as of lately, but in the past, I certainly have. Um, yeah, NatHab, I like to focus almost exclusively all my talent and energy towards making more NatHab films and throwing more videos up on our website. Um, so yeah, hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, and the next one, I think this is more about the editing process. So, I know just because I'm on the marketing team that there's quite a
Mm.
lot of people involved on the video team. And so, how exactly is it decided how long a film is going to be? Like, how was it decided that this one is going to be 5 minutes and 22 seconds? Like, was there a person who decided that, or was it a team selection? Or could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so part of that is how much of Rija's story uh, does everybody, including myself, find incredibly inspirational and exciting, and what can we make work into those parts? Because Rija had probably an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of interview,
Yeah.
but we don't want a feature length film for one. And then sometimes Rija has some really really great other things to share. Like there was the moment where he shared that he named his daughter after one of the birds that you frequently see, and it's such a really really great moment. But it's hard to find the spot in the story where something like that would work. We got to find a moment for that. We got to find a moment where we talk about Regis's family. So it just kind of landed at the 5 minutes and 20 seconds where we thought that's about where it should be. There's also a question of this is going a little deeper. Um, people's attention spans in general. So if we could try to keep it on the shorter side rather than like you know have it drag on a little too long, because we ultimately want people to get to the end where they learn how tourism is helping conservation in Madagascar. And if people tune out before then, they might miss that very important message. We do have films where we'll interview multiple people. So think of our let's see here, our polar bear country film. We interviewed so many more people, and that covers way more ground in terms of information it needs to present. So something like that would usually take on the short film kind of length of about 20 minutes. Uh, but yeah, there's really no super specific rhyme or reason why this landed on, the 5 minute mark that it did. Sometimes that's just how it ended up.
Yes, yeah. It's a very iterative process. And like I said,
Nobody said, "Hey Andrew, this video needs to be 5 minutes and 30 seconds on the dot."
yeah. Good. Yeah, having that creative freedom there, knowing that all of you treat each project as its own project. So,
Exactly.
um,
Yeah.
hopefully that answered that person's question. And everybody, I do have some more pre-trip type questions, which our concierge team would be more than happy to help with those. And a couple people are really excited to come see you, Rija, here soon. We have some people that are booked on the trip. So, how exciting! And people going back. So, lots of excited viewers, and I'm so happy for all of you who are going and maybe thinking about going. This is such an incredible destination. But I will go ahead and wrap up the Q&A portion here. And so, Rija, do you have any last closing comments that you would like to share with everybody?
I think what I can say to everybody is I've always said to the guests that Madagascar is a special place to go. Yeah, we have such a really beautiful biodiversity here, and we know that we need your help to preserve, the remain of those uniqueness we have in Madagascar. So I always invite, this invitation is actually what I would say to the people, yeah, to come to help us, to help the local people, the country, the industry, and, you know, natural habitat as well, WWF as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I could not agree more. As somebody who reads more of the science paper side of things, it's real. This impact is real. The scientists have even shown it. It's a thing. It's not just us. It's a thing. But Andrew, for you, any last closing comments that you would like to give the audience?
Hey, just be sure to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We have a lot of really great stories featuring other guides around the world coming out in the next few months. So you definitely don't want to miss out on those. And thanks so much, everyone who tuned into this and enjoyed the film.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, Rija, and thank you, Andrew, both of you for taking the time to chat with us today. Not with me, I feel honored, and I'm sure that everybody really enjoyed listening to both of you. And of course, I would always like to thank everybody who tuned in. Join us tomorrow for our next daily dose of nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including registration links on our website at nadhab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Bye.